Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden says voters should have a say in who replaces Ginsburg.
If Donald Trump wins the election, then the Senate should move on his selection and weigh the nominee he chooses fairly. But if I win this election, President Trump's nominee should be withdrawn.
CBS News has confirmed the president's top candidates include two federal appeals court judges, Amy Coney Barrett and Barbara Lagoa. Barrett was also on his list of candidates in 2018 before he ultimately picked Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar is a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, so she'll be directly involved in the confirmation of the next Supreme Court justice. She joins us now. Senator, good morning.
Thank you so much. It's great to be on.
Senator Schumer said over the weekend that nothing is off the table if Republicans move to fill Justice Ginsburg's seat. Kayleigh McEnany told us this morning there will be a nomination this week. What are Democrats prepared to do to fight back?
I think the first question to ask is actually, what are the Republicans going to do, given that they set their own precedent just 4 years ago when they made it very clear that if this happens in an election year, that whoever wins the election should be able to decide who the Supreme Court justice is. The people choose the president chooses the nominee. Then you have the actual wishes of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Her last words: "My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed."
But Senator, that's clearly not happening. The president says he's going to put out a nomination this week.
Sure.
What are you going to do?
Again, we already have two Republican senators that disagree with this, and there could be others. So I'm not going to concede that we have to look at what our strategies are until we know that they are all going to basically sell out to Mitch McConnell. They are independently elected but in their states. They made a pledge basically last time. Many of them said this should be regard to the election and who picks. And let me add one more thing. If you look at history, the only time that someone has died a justice this close to the election, you have to go back to Abraham Lincoln. And that wise leader, what did he do? He said, I'm going to wait till after the election to nominate someone, and we will then have a vote after the election. That's history, and that's a wise leader. And so regardless of what Donald Trump is going to do this week, my colleagues don't have to go lockstep with him. They can look in their own souls and their integrity and make a decision. So I'm not going to concede whatever strategies we have to deploy before we see what they do.
As you said, Senator Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, Republicans, are both opposed to filling the seat this close to the election. Do you think there will be other Republican votes?
I hope so. I mean, a Reuters poll just came out yesterday that showed that 62% of Americans believe that whoever wins the election should pick this justice. 5 out of 10 Republicans in that poll said the same thing. So they're going to have to listen to their own constituents, and there are a number of them that have not yet said where they are on this. And so that's my focus right now, really appealing to their sense of democracy, the sense of justice, and we will go from there. Because Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a hero, an icon, a woman ahead of her time. And I'm just not going to give up because she never gave up. I mean, they told her she couldn't go to law school, and she graduated first in her class. They told her that men should argue the cases on equal protection. She said, no, I'll do it, and she won. She got on the Supreme Court as only the second woman appointed after Sandra Day O'Connor to the nation's highest court, and she became a cultural icon in her 80s.
I know, Senator,
anything was possible.
You're right about that. We could say that she certainly persisted, and she was certainly beloved, it seems, on both sides of the aisle. But the truth of the matter is, to get back to Anthony's point for just a second, the numbers are against you. So are Democrats putting pressure on Republicans to look in their soul, as you say, to do, in your opinion, the right thing? Are you pressuring people, you and your colleagues behind the scenes? And if so, who?
We are talking to people and reaching out to them, but I also believe the voters are going to do that. That's why I just mentioned where the numbers are in the country. They're voting right now, Gail. 25 states have already started voting, and the rest will soon follow. Early voting. In my state, they're actually going to in-person poll voting. And so that's happening right now.
Who do you
And
think has more
healthcare-
incentive?
Think of what's on the line. Healthcare is on the
Yes.
line.
There's a
Voting
lot
rights
on the
is on the
line.
line. Environmental rules, well, people are choking on smoke out on the West Coast, on the line. November 10th is the Affordable Care Act case. People literally could be kicked off their insurance for pre-existing conditions.
But
If
Senator,
we
there's a
keep
there's a
adding
lot
to
on the
this
line
reserve.
for both sides. Both sides will tell you there's a lot on the line. So who do you think has more incentive to go to the polls because of this latest turn of events? And this isn't even the October surprise. Who do you think has more incentive, the Democrats or the Republican voters?
First of all, Joe Biden has a bunch of moderate Republicans and independents supporting him. So let's remember, a former Governor Kasich of Ohio actually spoke at the convention.
Yes.
Joe Biden is leading in states no one ever thought he could lead in because of the fact that Democrats are going to turn out in droves, but independents and moderate Republicans, so many of them are supporting him because they've had it with this divide. They've had it with a president who literally is trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act in the middle of a pandemic, who cannot manage this. Just this weekend, 200,000 people, we got to that number, have died. I had to go visit my dad through a glass door when he had COVID, not knowing if it's the last time I'm going to see him at age 92. That's happening to so many Americans,
Senator-
and they have had it.
Senator Klobuchar, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Well, thank you. It was great to be on.